Here is the front half of a Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport, and here is the rear half of a Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport, and today we've got to connect both of them together. After Alex crashed his Bugatti, he's nominated me to repair it.
Start getting your flights, mate.
And that challenge has become increasingly difficult as Bugatti refuse to sell us parts.
Well, we just don't think it's safe, and that's why we can't support it.
And on top of that, they don't think it's possible for us to do it without their help.
You can't just do that in a garage.
But despite that, in the last video, we managed to separate the rear half of the car away from the front half.
Bro, the fact that this is on garbage can bins.
Now we had to do this purely to get this part out here. The broken gearbox and engine mounting. And now we've got to figure out a way on how we're going to fix that so we can put it all back together and join the front half back to the rear. Okay, so we have a couple of options on repairing this gearbox and engine mounting. Option 1 was to 3D scan the original broken mounting and then make our own out of a CNC machined part of aluminium. 2 was to repair the original mounting, both of which have their pros and cons. Now the pros to CNC machining it would be it's made out of one entire piece of aluminium, which would be stronger than the original, but there is cons. Now when they're making it out of the complete CNC machine block, if one of these crank sensors are not in the exact same spot they were from the original mounting, then that could cause the engine to run lumpy, not start at all, or when it's under boost, not to run the correct boost. So it's a real risk on getting it exactly right, and we could lose millimeters of accuracy from a 3D scan to actually the production of that, but that's the risk. On top of that, CNC machining it is really expensive, but then we have the option of fixing it, and the pros would be we're using the original part so we can be comfortable that it will work, and also it's a lot cheaper, and if it's repaired correctly then it's not going to break again. The cons, we don't even know if it's repairable, so we took it to Bob at the machine shop.
ALS7 by 7M.
Is that something to do with the metal?
That's the type of material that's made from.
Right.
I got scared when I seen MG. That means magnesium. If it's a high magnesium content, it won't weld very nicely or won't weld at all.
Yeah.
But engineer friend here, he's done all the digging. We reckon we can weld this back to original strength.
So let's see if Bob can do this. Let's get to work. First thing he's doing is cleaning the area where he needs to join the broken part of the engine mount to the main part of it. He's got to make it nice and clean and make sure it mounts without it rocking about.
This is the make or break moment, the bit that we've been trying to figure out for a while. We know the type of aluminium that this is cast from. We know that engineers think it's weldable, but whether it's actually weldable in real life or not,
we'll find out.
It's weldable. This is going to be mint. It's weldable.
Good news. It looks like the original mounting can be fixed, and Bob wouldn't attempt to fix it if he wasn't 100% confident that this was going to be strong enough. Now before he does any repairs, he's putting the mounting into a mill and he's making sure all the measurements line up so when he does the repair, it's all in the correct place and it hasn't moved. So this is basically just a safety precaution.
So there's two different types of rods that we can use for this, is a 4047 and a 4043. The 4043 is better at gripping onto things, but the 4047 flows a bit better and it can actually grip and flow into the material a little bit better.
Whatever, Bob. Just get on with the repair. Now he's took the measurements, he's cleaning it up, and he's tack welded it together, and then he's hanging it into an oven. That way he can be sure that all the metal is the same temperature when he welds it. Now what Bob has told me is that this weld will actually be stronger than the original cast material that it was made out of. So it won't break on this part again. But to take even more precaution, he's going to do something to make it even stronger than that.
This welding's so nice. It's just flowing really nice, very low in impurities. It's fair play, Bugatti.
It seems like Bob is enjoying himself on this one. And I'm relieved if this does work, we're going to get to use the original part. And now what you can see Bob's making out of cardboard are little infills in the casting to give it some more structural rigidity. So first cutting this out of cardboard, then laying it in the gap.
Right, so we've got all the patterns for the infills cut. That's going to strengthen everything up. So the next time Alex crashes the car, it won't break at that point.
Bugatti didn't do this from the factory because it would have cost a lot more to do. And the way cast aluminium is made, from what I'm told, it needs to be all one thickness, or else it gets too hot when they're making it. And that's why you see these cutouts in the casting to stop it from getting too hot when it's taking the moulding. The same way Bob drills a small hole when he's put these infills in, just to allow the gases to escape and everything to cool down. And inside here is hopefully our answer. Here is our answer. Here it is. We've chose to use the repaired engine mount. So this is what we're using, the repaired one. I've decided it's the best option to do this. It's gonna be stronger than before. Whether that's a good idea or not, we don't know. The strength of this needs to be able to be strong going up and down. This, I don't think, was tested going forward and backwards. A lot of people said that maybe it was meant to break, which I sometimes can believe, sometimes not believe, because if you're in a small accident in a Chiron and the engine does move forward, this breaks, and then immediately you need to strip the whole car apart to be able to change this. Now, yeah, I get it, it's a separate part of the car, which makes sense of, like, if it is made to break, then it can unbolt rather than it being part of the engine. But then you have this situation here. So each one of these is where a crank position sensor goes. The sensor goes in there, and then that picks up a signal from the flywheel, which has teeth on it. And there'll be a missing tooth or a tooth which has a slightly bigger gap between the other one. And what the crankshaft position sensors do is talk to the ECU along with the camshaft position sensors to tell the car when to spark and ignite the fuel. And without this measurement, you could get all of these problems, which would of course cause the engine light. But this is repaired now. We're gonna give it a go and put it back in. Back onto there, wastegate's on, and we're not gonna know whether the whole thing works until we turn the key. Start repairing. We can only hope we've made the right decision here.
Baby!
And we're only gonna know when we get the engine back in the car and turn the key for the first time. I'm confident that the mount is gonna be strong enough, if not stronger, but because it's stronger, is that gonna cause the issue? Okay, so these are the electronic wastegates, and signal from there will tell that to open and close just by spinning it. But this is the hard part. We're going to be able to slide this on and then clamp it to that from behind. So let's see if we can get them on. These have a really important job of protecting the engine, stopping the turbo from over boosting, and they can regulate the boost pressure by opening the wastegate, preventing that extra boost. So it's vital that we get these in place and connect them up to the rod on the end of the wastegates.
Wastegate motor in position. Next, engine mounting bolts.
So these bolts, again, they look titanium, hold the engine mount to the bracket that Bob's welded up. Once we put these in, the whole engine's gonna hang on Bob's weld. So this is gonna really be the true test. There's two bolts which hold the engine mounts to the engine mounting, which we're putting in now, and then we're gonna find out. Right, here we go. Time to let it rest on its own accord. Pretty good. The whole engine is now resting on Bob's repair. And so far, so good. It's looking like this is gonna work. Fly wheel. It's light, and this says Bugatti on it. EB EB, baby. Mine says Bugatti on it, doesn't mean it's a Bugatti though. Now, this is important that we torque it because we need every bolt tightened correctly the same. Because if this sits on slightly like that and it starts spinning around, it's going to go crazy with it. So we need it to sit exactly. And we've got the torque specs. And I'll tell you how we got them later. Now when we're putting the flywheel on, it can only go on one way. You can see that tiny hole which has a dowel in it, and that is because there'll be a correct position to put it so the crank sensors can get that correct reading. And with the bolts, we're putting a little bit of Loctite on them and then popping them in afterwards. Then it's time to torque them. We need to make sure we torque all the bolts to the same rating, so this flywheel sits nice and flat and we don't get any vibrations. Once that's in place, my dad then can start putting in some hoses he had to take out to access the engine mounting when he was removing it before. And if he doesn't put these on, or he doesn't put them on properly, we're going to really struggle to get to them if there's a leak when we add the coolant to the car. That's on. Now, gearbox, back to the engine. Bolt that on. This is where it's going to get a bit tricky and difficult. We've got to make sure every single electrical connector goes in the right spot, every single oil line goes in the right spot, and we've got to figure out what fluid, well, we're going to put back in the old fluid, but we've got to make sure how we put it back in is correct. There's so many unknowns here. We don't know whether this is going to start at the end. We don't know whether the gearbox is going to work at the end. It's so unknown. We've got no help. Just going to do it. Let's get this gearbox connected to the engine. Let's go. Here's the thing. We have no idea whether there's any special bleed procedure or filling procedure when it comes to the oil in the gearbox. We're going to just have to hope that there isn't. But before we worry about that, we've got to get it onto the car.
I think this is how Bugatti do it.
I'm pretty confident it is. They just have a stronger guy. With the gearbox finally lined up to the engine, we can put in all the bolts and start tightening them to it. After that, we need to sort out where the electrics go. Let's not forget to put the wires on this, else we're splitting the whole car again. The Volkswagen Passat starter motor. And some people have said online that there's no way that this is the 1.9 diesel starter motor. It is. It is the 1.9 TDI starter motor. It is. There's no difference. It's the same part number. Yep, this starter motor is in charge of starting a 1.9 TDI Passat, as well as a W16 Bugatti engine. That's one pretty powerful starter motor. You can see here the part numbers are exactly the same and they're identical part. Now that that's fitted, we can send the engine and the gearbox in the air.
Look at that. It's holding it up.
It is.
It's holding
Shall we swing on it? Shall we actually do a pull up on it?
Okay, now we can connect all the electrical wires to make sure everything is connected, because we cannot access any of this once the car's together. So we've got hoses to connect, wires to connect, ground wires, power wires. Oh, and we've got to make sure nothing, no debris gets in the gearbox. All of these solenoids are the ones that are used to select the gears.
Let's do it.
And these solenoids are really important. They also have the same electrical connector on every one of them. But luckily, a lot of them are numbered, as well as the wiring is numbered as well. So it should be difficult to mix them all up, but it still is possible. And if we do mix them up, when we select second gear, it might select fourth. SV2, 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 SVPB, SVPB, my guy. But what I do like is that they've put all the solenoids on the outside of the gearbox. That way if there is a problem, it is accessible, rather than some cars where they're all internal, which means you have to strip apart the gearbox to find faults on why it's not selecting gears. Now I've put the power wire onto the starter motor, and finally the CAN wires which go into the brain of the gearbox. Every single plug we connect is really important now. Now we can send the engine and gearbox back in the air to start connecting all the plugs which are underneath it. More solenoids for first gear and reverse gear. Then we have the wastegate bolts which we're trying to reach now, which we realise we probably should have done at the start. And once they're all connected, the engine can go back down and there's more pipes to add onto it. Aircon pipes, and then oil return pipes go into the tank which provides all the oil for the gearbox on the side. My dad's now cleaning out the inlet sections for where the gearbox gets fed its oil. A little bit of lubricant on the seals, and then you can slide in the oil feed and return pipes. And then finally, a rubber breather on the side of the box. Big moment. These are all sensors for something, position sensors. We've got to make sure, even though they're both the same plugs, we plug them in the correct places. So we've got one big one, which I think goes in here. Only reason is because this plug's there. Oh, unless it went that way.
We left it
Oh
in.
yeah, it does. It went that way, didn't it? Oh, okay, so that's a scam. Then this one will go in here. These were well hard to get out, weren't they? And then this one will go up here. Right. If it don't run right, it's something to do with them. Let's get them in. In goes one crank sensor into the engine mounting plate. In goes another one. And finally, the final one. I'm not sure why there's 3 crank sensors, but it probably has something to do that this car has 16 cylinders. That's a lot of cylinders, so I imagine a lot of sensors. And finally, there's one more oil line to connect from the oil tank to the gearbox, and that's all good.
All in. Just got to put the oil in now. Turn the key.
Putting the oil in is going to be serious. If we're going anything from Mark's Bugatti, who thinks his gearbox didn't work because it had swarf in the oil, we want to make sure this oil is spotless. So we kept it in a jug over there because we don't know what oil goes in it. We want to make sure we filter it before we put it into this. So we're going to need some kind of filter or a gauze before we put it in.
How do you know it's got enough gearbox oil in?
The only way we know is because of what we took out. Mission to get a funnel and then some kind of filter to filter the oil in before it goes into the gearbox.
Oh, that's got...
You what?
Hello!
And I think we've found the place. Cured the filter and the sieve. We just gotta hope it works. Right, here we go. We're going in there. Yeah, it smells like gear oil in there, so we're okay. Just double checking. Look at that. We're taking mad precaution here. What I'm doing here is cutting up an oil filter that I bought from the shop so I can lay this at the bottom of the funnel and filter the gear oil through it. Could be a while. And in goes the gear oil that we took out. We have no idea what grade of oil this is, and we don't know how much to put in. The only way we do know is because of how much actually come out of it. Filling it through this breather pipe took a long time, so in the end we ended up taking it off and then filling it directly into the oil tank, which seemed to be a lot quicker, and then I could put the breather pipe back onto the oil tank and bolt it all down. And again, it's a sort of fingers crossed and hope that we've done that correctly. Is that it? And with that done, it's finally time to join the front to the rear of the car. Before we put on the front onto the back, this got damaged, but when the engine shifted forward, it squashed this pipe block. Squashed it. So that's going to be a nightmare to get to when the two are joined together. So we're going to take this off, and because we can't order one, we're going to improvise.
With this.
Oh, it's like Mary Poppins basket. That's how we're going to do it. Bit of hose like that. And you can't squash that. Can't be squashed like it's proper rigid. Couple clamps. I think that'll do it. Because we can't get any parts from Bugatti, we're having to repair and think outside the box with this one. So we're cutting off the broken bit of pipe and replacing it with a rubber fuel hose, which is more than enough for a little overflow coolant pipe. And now we know this isn't going to get squashed. We're clamping it down, and then we can fit in the second half of the metal pipe and clamp our new rubber hose to it. This should be perfect. Here we go. Let's join the front to the back. Okay, here's the job that Bugatti thought we couldn't do in the first place. And this is the tooling that Bugatti used to join their cars together. Ours, slightly different. They have a machine which probably costs millions of pounds. For us, bin wheels. But it does seem to be working. When we get this car joined together, it's only held with 14 bolts, which are just here. 14 nuts to hold the front to the back. It's looking good. And these are titanium bolts, tightened on to titanium studs as well. We want to make sure that the back half of the car is sitting flush with the front half before we start tightening, because we don't want to stress any of these bolts more than we need to. And that's what the machine at Bugatti is really used for. So we've had to be extra careful here. With the bolts in the side, we can now jack up the rear of the car and start adding the wheels to it. One wheel on, then the other. With the rear wheels on, my dad can go inside the car and attach the gear cable, which allows us to manually put the car into neutral. He's turning that over now, and I can pull the car back to get it into the 2-post ramp. Last bolts to go in. It has to go into the 2-post ramp so we can put in the final bolts which are underneath the car. And it's looking like we're going to do it.
The engine is, and you have the rear subframe that needs to be separated from the car. You can't do that in a garage. There's just a few places in the world with the right equipment and only a few people in the world with the right training to be able to do that.
Right, we've got to torque up these bolts. 14 of them. 20 Newton meters first on the first turn, then 70. Now, I guess you're probably wondering how we're finding the torque specs for the vital components like the back half of the car.
Bugatti Chiron. 20 Newtonmeter, es hat geklackt.
Well, thanks to some TV programs and YouTube, we found them. You can see this German bloke here torquing up the bolts to 70 Newton meters. That was after he tightened them first to 20. So we're just going to copy exactly what he did. And that does feel right. 14 bolts now going to 70 Newton meters. Well, not exactly right, as I'm about to find out. There's 4 bolts underneath the car, which are actually a slightly different size. And because they're a different size, they probably had a different torque spec. Oh no! Oh no. Oh no. Now we're in trouble. Oh no. That's broken. I had just snapped one of those vital bolts into the tub of the car. Oh no.
Oh no. I've never seen you snap a bolt in the 3 years.
Yeah, the one time I pick up a torque wrench
is when you snap it.
I snap the bolt, yeah. Thing is, have we got to separate it to get this out? I'm really hoping we don't have to separate the car again to get this thread out of the tub. You can see it snapped off just here. I definitely used the wrong torque spec for this bolt. Now I've got to try everything to get this thread out of the tub. These bolts are so brittle because they're made out of titanium and they're designed to snap. So if you are in an accident, the rear end of the car like this can completely separate from the front where it's the safest because you're sheltered in a carbon monocoque. So if they use stainless steel bolts, there's a chance they would bend and wouldn't snap off as easy. But if you over torque the bolt, there's risk of it snapping. But it looks like I've got lucky here.
Perished.
But now we need to find a new bolt. It ain't that bad because we've managed to get a titanium M8 with a 1.25 thread pitch and a 50mm long bolt for $11. And it's titanium, it's CNC machined, and I got a free sticker sheet with it. So that should be coming in the next couple of days. Ain't that bad. We got it out. Minor. Can't wait for my sticker sheet. Hey, mistakes are always made, but you guys get to see the highs and the lows. And if you enjoy that, I guess now's a great time, if you're not subscribed to the channel, to hit that subscribe button. We've still got a long way to go in this Bugatti, and I want you all to join the journey with me. With the front now connected to the rear, it's time to connect all the components which mechanically connect the front half to the rear. like the prop shaft in the middle, which connects the differential to the gearbox, the coolant hoses which go from the back of the car to the front radiators, and a bunch of wires. With that done underneath, there's plenty more to do on top. Hoses going into the engine, and then vitally fuel hoses as well, which are going out the fuel tank in the carbon monocoque and being pushed into the engine. On the side of the car, there's more hoses for intercoolers and radiators. They've all got to be connected. And then vitally, wires. Without these wires, there'll be no communication from the back half of the car to the front. And with that in, I can now start putting in the air boxes. Whilst my dad's putting in a coolant reservoir, which is purely just for the turbos. And once the air boxes are in, there's a massive air guide which sits over the side of it as well. And whilst I'm doing one side, my dad's doing the other. With them on, I can't forget the fuel filler line. I've got to connect the hose up there. There's a ground wire which connects to it, and then I can bolt that to the rear frame of the car. And finally, it's looking like most of the parts are connected from the rear of the car to the front. It is together to a point. There's a lot of stuff missing off the back, okay? I've just been thinking more and more as I'm doing this. Alex drove this car a lot without any coolant in. And we've learned, which I've never seen happen before, but we've learned from Matt behind the camera, Hurricane, who had to drive it about 10-15 minutes down the road with no coolant in his Hurricane, that it burnt out a seal on his water pump and it leaked water. And we ain't gonna know whether this car has done the exact same thing. It could have done turbo seals, it could have done anything, because Alex has been driving it without coolant, and I'm a bit paranoid about that. And we can't put the water in until we do the radiators on the front. That's another issue for later. For now, we need to even see if it starts up. We need to see if it even drives, and to make sure that it starts up, we need to have brake pressure. So we're going to lift the car in the air. We need to bleed the brakes, because remember, we disconnected the back from the front and the brake lines have come apart. So we need to refill the brake fluid, get all the air out of them so we can get a brake pedal. There's still wirings to connect in there, and there's still all of that to go on. So one step at a time. Let's do the bleeding the brakes first, and this is important. No pressure. So it's off with the wheels again. This is so we can access the brake calipers, so we're able to get all the air out of them. First job, to fill it with brake fluid. Normal .4 brake fluid, like any other Volkswagen car it takes. Then I'm gonna hop in and start pumping the brake pedal. I'm gonna pump the brake and try and push out all the brake fluid out to the corners. My dad's gonna crack the bleed nipple and get all the air out. Tell me when.
When? Yeah, you got a long way to go because there's no air coming. Oh,
my dad's starting with the brake caliper furthest away from the brake reservoir, and you can see all the air bubbles coming out the brake fluid now. Until he's happy, then he'll tighten the bleed nipple back on. And there's also another bleed nipple on the inside of the caliper. And we're doing this over and over. Doing all of this to the car, some people might be scared on buying it, and I'm trying to save the pennies to buy it. I really want this car. The fact that we're rebuilding it, I'm getting attachment to it already. But there is one thing that will devalue this car for a very long time in the future, and that is the car vertical check. No matter how good this car looks, at the end it will always have the scar on the car vertical check. And I can see on the car vertical check for this car that it's registered as damaged, and it has a salvage title. And we're never going to be able to remove that. Now imagine you're checking a car out on Car Vertical that you're about to buy, and you find something a little bit fishy about it. You can use that as a bartering tool, or you could use that as a tool to go, you know what, I'm going to clear off and buy another one with a better Car Vertical score. And that's exactly what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to use it as a bartering tool to buy Alex down. I'm buying this Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport. On the check, it gives you everything you need to know about the car. How many owners it's had, whether it's had any mileage fraud or ever been exported. And if it wasn't an accident, sometimes it'll even show you photos of the car when it was auctioned off at the car crash auction site.
what's the pedal like?
Solid! Now to check your car out on Car Vertical, you can do with a link in the description box below. And when you check your car out, make sure you use the discount code to save some money on that check. It's on the screen right now. Oh, the next step is a really good step on this Bugatti. Let's get it on. Before that step though, whilst we're here, I should be doing this. Transmission, ECU, plugging in. I assume they put the transmission ECU here because it's closer to the gearbox, which means less wires and less weight. And it's quite nicely stored underneath the driver's seat. That's that in. Now that that's in, I can put the carpet on because I'm going to put the carpet in because the accelerator pedal goes over the top of the carpet, which is down there, and we only have a brake pedal, and I don't know how this is going to react with starting it without an accelerator pedal. So we probably should do that. We shouldn't have to revisit here until we press that start button. Right, let's get the carpet. I'm hoping I haven't just jinxed it. In goes a foam piece, then the super thin carpet. Accelerator pedal up here. Wow! To be honest, this pedal is nothing special. It's just one big piece of plastic, not even billet aluminium. And all this does is bolt in with 4 bolts above the carpet. 1500 horsepower, powered by a bit of plastic. Okay, accelerator pedal in, brake pedal bled. We're getting there. Time to go to the rear. Ooh, here we go. The whole reason we took apart the back of this car because Alex wanted a new exhaust. I agreed because I think it should have a new exhaust, and we want to experiment with it because I'm not sure anybody else has put an exhaust on a Chiron Pur Sport. First off, let's show them the Valvetronic, which they've specially made for us within 2 weeks. Let's get this bad boy out of it. On the second channel, my dad removed the standard exhaust, boxed it up and sent it to Valvetronic so they can develop a new one.
Kind of in the middle of just doing the baseline fixturing for the final assembly, determining where all of our support points need to be, any other modifications we need to make.
Well, in terms of designing the flanges, these had to be custom milled in the CNC machine. So this was the diameter that you required in terms of the spec sheet and in terms of our machining process. Bingo. We have our main X-pipe configuration section. We have our 2 bypass sections, which are going to go down to the side, which are the outer tips.
And as you can see, they were hard at work in creating a brand new one within 2 weeks. Welding, fabricating, 3D scanning, and then put it all into production. And finally, after all of this, they come to deliver me the final product. Oh my days, what the hell is going on with that? That's crazy.
Make it complicated. So
that looks like some art piece.
When we took off the stock exhaust, we were talking about this inside, you need all 6 tips because the car moves so much air. So bringing the 2 centralized sections together to like help refine the tone, then you have these bypasses out to the side. This is 3.5 inches to move as much air as possible.
Oh, this is crazy.
So it's really quite madness.
Thank you so much.
Man.
And here it is, a 1 of 1 Valvetronic Bugatti Chiron exhaust, looking way better than the original one. But will it sound better? So you have the turbos. They come out of the turbos, and out of the turbos you're going to have 4 exhaust pipes. They lead to catalytic converters, primary catalytic converters. They have one sensor to measure the air and fuel ratio that the engine is burning, and then another sensor after the catalytic converter which measures the air and fuel ratio after it's passed through the catalytic converter. And if you remove the catalytic converter, the second sensor is going to have a false reading because it's going to be like, what's going on? The catalytic converter isn't working, and it may put the car into limp mode. We didn't want to risk that. If we do that, it means we need to tune the car. And if nobody can tune this car, we risk that the engine is in limp mode forever. But this car has secondary catalytic converters just for emissions, and these things are absolutely carnage. If we remove this, the better airflow coming out of the exhaust means more power. There's no sensors after this, so the exhaust and the car is not going to know that we've removed these. So we're going to bring the kind of driveway vibes to a Bugatti, and instead of making this pipe, which we did contact Austin about, of making this pipe here to replace this secondary cat. It says all it essentially is going to be is the exact same pipe without it. We're going to remove the secondary catalytic converter. There's precious metals in it, we're going to keep them, and of course we could sell them.
Hey, everybody want to see me stop. Breaking down walls, no sheetrock, hot boy steaming off top like teapots.
So this is a little unorthodox, but I think it's going to work. I've done this plenty of times before on some of my old cars, but the difference, none of them have been Bugatti.
No cape, I don't do no saving. Hey, look what you made them. Took everything, look what you gave them.
All these essentially do is clean up more air that leaves the exhaust. Hey, some cash. Next time, we're just making them. And you'll find that any track car doesn't have any of these because it restricts the flow. Yes. And that's why we're getting all of this out, which wasn't easy. We eventually managed to get it all out, which means this Bugatti will be pretty much straight piped, but they aren't known for being good sounding cars. And we're not going to know whether it sounds any good until we turn that key. I really need to know what it sounds like. It looks good. We're about to find out whether it sounds good. We've got to tighten it all up. We've then got to attach the whole back end, plug everything in. We're ready to go. Do you know, like, if it sounded like an SVJ, we're clear, but it's never going to sound like it's. I think it's the turbos that kill the car.
Yeah, I think the turbos are going to primarily take over the noise.
Yeah,
and I think it's just going to have a very loud, like, shh.
Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna. I think we're gonna hear the turbos whirring on idle. They're not known for sounding good. These cars, they're not known for sounding good. So we could have made it worse. The anticipation is killing, man. Now we've got to tighten up both the clamps which hold the Valvetronic to the standard exhaust, and now we've got to cover it all over with this horrible heat shield, but it is needed. The whole rear crash, sensors, bars, everything going on. Again, like the rear part of the car, this rear crash bar is attached with titanium bolts. I can only assume for the same reason that in an accident, they'd snap off easily. And now that we've tightened that to it, we can start fitting the rest of the parts which attach to this rear frame, including all the ECUs. There's 2 engine ECUs, a transmission control unit, more radiators which are on the back, and of course the fuse boxes as well. And a lot of these wires run down and connect to the ABS sensors, brake wear sensors, and more electronics. So this is a super time consuming job, which took way longer than what you're watching now. Everything is plugged in, no turning back, all the wires are white. I'm pretty confident. So we're committing. There's no turning back now. The fuse cover is going on, and I'm pretty confident I've plugged in everything correctly. Not every day in life, you can say, you put together a Chiron. There's still some more final bits to go on, like the ground wires, which are in a really tricky spot, but these are really important. And then I'm putting on some carbon paneling on the back, which simply bolts to it, and once that's on, there's some mesh which goes over the top, just for a bit of decoration really. And then my dad's just got to finish off the fuse box on the left hand side of the car as well. And with that all done, there's only one more piece we need to fit. Here we go. This is it. Whole car's together. The final part. The battery is here. So now we're about to find out whether it starts, whether it works, whether we've done everything right, what it sounds like, and whether it goes into gear. This is a big moment because we're going to find out whether we've got a lot more work after this, or we've passed stage 1 of what Bugatti didn't think we couldn't do. Actually, stage 2.
What do you think it's going to sound good or sound bad?
I have no idea. I think it's just going to sound louder.
I hope it shoots flames right now, but I also don't, because I don't know if it like...
I think we'll have to get it really hot to shoot flames, and we have no coolant in it yet. Alex has been driving it a lot without coolant, but we've just taught him that afterwards before, so it's a bit too late for that. So, the exhaust's on, The rear half of the car is now connected to the front half of the car. And finally, the battery is the only thing preventing us from starting it. A $40,000 special lithium-ion battery which fits right in this gap here underneath the car. I can only assume to balance the weight, and there's literally nowhere else you could put it. We're pushing it in place. There's 4 bolts which hold it to the tub. One negative going on. Here we go. We got noise. And then there's another terminal on the other side, positive and negative. Push these on, tighten them up, and we're pretty much ready to go. Now it's time. Everything's connected, right? We've done the brakes, we've done the ground wires, we've done everything.
Can't see any smoke.
You're gonna be the one to turn the key, yeah?
Me?
Yeah, I think you should do it.
Alright, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'm ready.
Okay, right, it's time. The moment we've been waiting for. The whole time since we've been back in Miami. We're just refilling up the hydraulic fluid for the nose lift and the suspension. Then it's time.
Ready to start?
Ready.
What do you think it's going to sound like?
Loud.
Get it started. If it runs good, then we get a few revs. Big moment. Oh my god, please stop. Please stop. Yeah? Let's do it. Whoa, it's starting on. It sounds pretty good. It sounds good. It sounds good. It's starting on back. It sounds good. It ran first time and it was extremely loud. Is it not louder? I can't tell.
Like it sounds like a little bit louder.
Yeah.
I expected like a different noise.
Yeah, I think it sounds the same but louder.
Yeah, but like not like an SVJ from stock to straight. No. It just sounds like 20% deeper.
I don't think Bugatti have made a car that we can't get it any louder. Now, no matter what we do to this exhaust, we're not going to be able to make this sound like an SVJ. Essentially, this car is just a Volkswagen W8 engine attached to another W8 engine to make the W16. And because it has 4 turbochargers, that tends to kill the sound, along with the firing order and loads of different aspects. So no matter what we do, the car is always going to have this type of tone. It's just loud, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like, dude.
It's just loud. I don't think they make a. Oh no! It's fuel. It's fuel.
Oh,
It's not oil.
Get a lighter.
Yeah, it would have popped a fuel line.
It doesn't sound crazy, man.
do you not like it?
I don't dislike it, but I'm not like, wow, sounds amazing, you know, a night and day difference. No, it sounds the same, just like 20% deeper.
No. We're good. We didn't test the gears. That's it. That's clear.
Yeah,
It's just popped off.
Oh, what, the fuel line popped
Yeah,
off?
it's just popped off.
Yeah.
I want to see whether it goes in gear. As long as it goes forward, I'm happy. Can you just press the pedal? Yeah! It's working! It's working! Yeah!
It's in gear!
Wow! Wow! Yes! Let's get it! Good news, starts up, we fix the leak, it goes into gear. Bad news, Bugattis don't make a good sounding car.
No, dude. I'm just happy that the car's back together and it turns on. People swear that this car was never gonna turn on ever. It's really just putting on the bumper, the wheels, and we could just go.
It's that easy.
Wow. Think we could get a Bugatti certificate now?
I think we need to see whether it runs to temperature or Alex has destroyed the seals in the water pump. Let's find out in the next video. Thanks so much for watching this one. If you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.
You are. You're like a drug that I just can't deny.